Okay,
When your
look
face
at that
shows up on it,
line.
then the camera's broken.
You see your face?
This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you in part through a grant from the Town of North Haven.
Okay.
I'd like to call this Inland Wetlands meeting to order. It is the August meeting. My name is Peter Tenedine. I am a commission member and I am the acting chairman for this evening. We are missing 4 commission members this evening, regular members. We do need our normal secretary is not here this evening, so Frank Bumstead has volunteered to be the secretary for the evening, and at this point, kindly read the call. And by the way, we only have one application, one public hearing before us this evening, and that is the first application on the agenda. The second one, Mr. Villanti will not be appearing this evening. With that being said, Frank.
I-11-13 application of Patent Place LLC applicant Claudio Emilio Arguini and Lorenzo and Lucinio Coletta, owners, relative to 19 and 51 Patent Road, map 56, lots 20 and 21, seeking permit to conduct regulated activity and subdivision referral. Plan entitled Record Subdivision Map, Roma Estates, 19 and 51 Patent Road, North Haven, Connecticut, prepared by Godfrey Hoffman Associates, LLC, dated 12/21/10, revised 05/26/11, scale 1 inch equals 50, R40 zoning.
Okay, at this point, I would like to open the public hearing portion.
Yeah, they have to move up here, so the microphone, and they have to move in this area for the camera and the microphone.
Okay,
If
okay.
anybody was speaking.
Yeah, they
Please
need
use
to
the
be in
mic.
front of the microphone.
when you make your presentation. I think I should preface this evening's meeting with the following comments that we will not be deliberating on this application this evening due to the fact that we do have 4 regular members out and it will be continued the following month. That being said, is the applicant ready to make a brief presentation regarding the wetlands issues?
Yes,
this out?
good evening, Commissioner Tenedine, acting chair, members of the commission. My name is Bernard Pellegrino. I'm an attorney with the Pellegrino Law Firm, and I represent the owner's applicant. And also here with me is Chris Gagnon. He's our civil engineer. We had heard that you were down commission members, including the chair and other senior members. So we understand that what you just said was going to happen. And in light of that fact, what we thought we would do is just give you kind of a condensed version of a little overview, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just to give you all who are here tonight a sense of what's happening. And then next month when we
You
come...
could present an expanded version next month.
Yes, so that's fine. And we appreciate you coming out tonight and having us. And we appreciate the opportunity to be here. Finally, we've been working on the plan. There were some revisions that were requested in some staff meetings, which you'll hear about in a minute, caused us to redo and resubmit the plan. So our clients have owned this site for a number of years, and it's essentially vacant land right now. It previously had been developed or utilized for a sand and gravel operation, so the site has been excavated to some extent. It is certainly not virgin soil. It presently exists with 2 wetland areas, one in the northern central portion of the site and another isolated pocket to the western portion of the site. This is Patent Road, and this plan before you that Chris will explain just shows the access road that would come in the cul-de-sac and the creation layout of 6 lots. Obviously, this is the wetland that is closest to the development area, although we have no direct wetland impacts, and we're outside your buffer zones for the most part. The area of Patton Road, where the bridge crosses the Muddy River, does suffer from some existing flooding. And so, in meeting to discuss the application with town staff, it was suggested that certain improvements be made to Patton Road in the vicinity of the access drive to bring that section of the road, as well as the access point for the cul-de-sac above the floodplain elevation, so that in the event of flooding, this access road could be, or this the cul-de-sac could be accessed by the residents and by emergency vehicles. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chris, and he'll give you a little more of the kind of the civil design issues and touch on
Can you move your
some of the
easel
wetlands.
up so that the audience can see?
Yes, but if you could tilt it, yeah, that would be great. And then
Because we all have a set of plans, so
I know a couple members of the public had questions about where the wetlands are located on the property, for one anyways.
And Chris, have you had a chance to review the town staff's comments?
I have, sir.
Specifically number 5 from Alan's comments.
I don't have them memorized.
Okay.
Understood. Good evening, everyone. For the record, my name is Chris Gagnon. I'm a professional engineer licensed to practice in the state of Connecticut. I perform the design and the stormwater analysis for this project. And in terms of wetland impacts, Mr. Pellegrino covered most of the impacts. I'll just kind of go through a little rundown of what we have going on and kind of how we got here to the largest impacts are in the improvement of Patton Road, which was we were it was recommended that we improve that area for safety concerns, to ensure that we could access the future development if there ever was a situation of high water coming out of the Muddy River. Brief rundown of what we have going on. What we're proposing is a 6-lot subdivision. I was just reviewing a previous plan which had a 9-lot one, so I just wanted to confirm. We have a 6-lot subdivision. The lots are of the proper size. They're as of right. The road length is about 750 feet, which is what is allowed as of right. So we're not proposing anything that's not as of right in the zone. The site, as Mr. Pellegrino mentioned, has 2 areas of wetlands and then 1 water course in the very southerly portion of the property. The proposed development does not have any upland review area impacts or direct wetland impacts in the vicinity of the proposed lots. The only wetlands impacts in the upland review area are with respect to the upgrade to Patton Road. Historically, the Muddy River has some flooding problems in between the crossing of Patton Road and up to the area around our intersection. So in meeting with the town engineer and the town planner, we pulled out the flood maps and determined at what elevation this historic 100-year flood was in the area, and then we modified the road. We modified Patton Road so we would bring it up above that flood elevation. Therefore, when in times of high rainfall and when the Muddy River is flowing as full as can be, Patton Road itself would get wet, and the wetland area along the frontage fills up with water, but this part of the property will allow access and egress from the site and would be above that 100-year flood elevation. So the impacts in the buffer area along Muddy River involve bringing in some fill to raise up the road, and in doing so, we didn't want to chase any fill into the Muddy River, so we've actually shifted the alignment of the road slightly away from the river. So any fill that we're bringing in is going to be chased out before it gets to the existing slope of the river. So we don't have any direct impacts to the Muddy River. We're just working in the buffer, and this is strictly a safety issue that we're proposing all that work. The wetlands along the frontage are not impacted at all by any of the development. Due to the mining operation, there is a large berm. It runs along that area there, and it's directly a result of the mining operation. Behind that berm in the main area of the development is where the mining operation occurred, and that's what created the interior isolated wetlands. The site was excavated down to the level of the water table and exposed some of the water table. That is why we have those wetlands inside the development area. We have your standard stormwater management situation, catch basins and pipes to a detention pond, which then releases out and into this wetland area. And that is essentially the project itself. It's 6 lots. It's 750 feet of road, and the development is from the high quality wetlands along the frontage of the property by the berm, and the majority of the upland review area impacts are as a result of improving Patton Road, so we eliminate the safety issue of potential flooding if there ever is an emergency in the development.
I think our main area of concern is the work in Patton Road and the actual limit of the wetlands in that area, and how much work is going to be done in the regulated area.
I have a few other questions.
Oh,
too.
that's, I have just one other concern, and that's dewatering during the construction operation. How is that going to be handled with temporary sedimentation ponds?
Yes, we have an extensive erosion and sedimentation control plan. We can get into that a little bit if you would like. The erosion and sedimentation control plan requires that we, get some of the improvements into the site. First thing, something I didn't mention before is that this isolated wetlands does not have any way out of the bowl that it's in. So part of the proposed development is to provide relief out of that bowl with a temporary sediment with a head wall and a pipe to get it out of there. So during the construction process, as the road is getting boxed in, we will be directing some runoff back towards the wetlands, but once everything is constructed, the overflow comes out, and so the proposed houses will not have any sort of flooding issues associated with them. During the construction process, we have water bars, we have diversion ditches, we have temporary sediment traps, all things designed, hay bales, construction entrance, silt fence, all things designed to catch any sediment-laden runoff before it gets into the wetland area. To address the situation in the road, like I said, we're not doing any work closer to it. It's an already developed area. That's why we had to adjust the alignment away from the wetlands a little bit, so the foot of fill that we're bringing in is not gonna get chased into the muddy river. We propose to riprap the bank along that extra foot of fill that we're bringing in, so we're not gonna have any erosion issues going into the muddy river itself. In terms of protection of the area during construction, we're proposing erosion and sedimentation controls around the existing structures. These structures just release directly into the river, so we propose either silt sacks or hay bales. Since it is a street, silt sacks are sometimes a little better. The hay bales tend to get knocked around, so we propose silt sacks to protect the muddy river from any overflow. So we do have an extensive E&S plan to protect the muddy river and the wetlands during the construction process.
Thank you. I know Pam said she had some concerns, and maybe some of the other commissioners have some questions for
I'd be
you.
happy to hear whatever they have to say.
It's all yours, Pam.
Well, I have a different idea. What if that road, this is gonna be a town road, a paved town road?
The
Is it?
proposed road?
Yeah,
Yes.
so the town's gonna have to take care of that?
Yes.
What if that were a private road? It wouldn't maybe have to be an impervious surface. It could be narrower, there would be less runoff, and it could go in so that there could be much shorter driveways, which also don't have to be paved, and that would greatly reduce the stormwater runoff.
I am fully on board with reducing the width of the road. I have approached the town staff with that as a proposal. The town, right now it's shown drawn to the town standards. That is a pretty wide road to serve 6 houses. I am 100% in agreement with you on that. We are hoping to reduce the width of pavement of the road. It does serve a couple of things. One, it does reduce the amount of runoff. We're hoping to reduce the sidewalk requirements, which is the town standards show sidewalks on both sides of the road, which really acts to widen the road box, if you will. So reducing the width of the road, reducing sidewalks on possibly one or both sides of the road, and those all help to limit runoff. And in the future, if it is being a town road, the reconstruction and repavement costs, we all know these things need to get repaved eventually, those are greatly reduced if we can reduce the width of the road. I am 100% on board with that. I don't think I think the road should be paved. Now, I'm with you that, not paving the world is definitely the way to go. However, a gravel road that's used very often, the runoff characteristics from that and a paved road are pretty similar. You're not going to really reduce runoff a great deal if it's gravel, but reducing the width and reducing the side, you're going to get more benefits out of reducing the width and reducing the sidewalk. So I'm fully on board with
If I
that.
could just jump in and add one thing. Under your subdivision under the subdivision regulations, not yours, but those of the town and the Planning and Zoning Commission, in order to subdivide the land, to create lots, you have to have frontage on a public road. And the town has specific specifications about what your road has to look like and how wide it has to be. So under the current town regulations, in order to subdivide the land, you have to build a road, and you have to build it to the town specifications. So a private road isn't permissive for a subdivision, at least based on my reading of the zoning subdivision.
I was going to try to clarify that point. I mean, one of your statements was maybe if it wasn't a town road, which would obviate the problem of being paved or not. But that is the problem. You couldn't subdivide at that point. Then it would become a multifamily sort of development, which is a different issue. It would have to be rezoned, et cetera. So given the current zoning, as Jonathan was pointing out, in order to subdivide it, every lot needs to have frontage on a public street. So that's one of the challenges with that.
Can the people, could there be one less house? Could the driveways be shared instead of putting in two long parallel paved driveways right next to each other? Just let the people share one drive? People have been known to do that over
They
time?
could do that as soon as they
Well,
have fun.
just viewing it in the zoning sense, not
Or
in
do
terms
they-
of the developer or
They
trying
have
to
to have
represent.
their own driveway?
Let's just clarify a couple things. There's no requirement to pave a driveway ever, okay? But if there is if two people can work out sharing a driveway, that's something that's possible, but you need to have the access strip and the access on the public road. So the access strip could be there, it might be possible to combine those, but that would be something, sort of a P and Z issue to make sure that the necessary easements or what have you.
If I could just jump in on one other
Yeah.
point, and maybe the abbreviated version of the presentation hurt us here, because Chris didn't get in too much into the stormwater and the flows and the amount of runoff. Actually, I think what you'll hear is that there's going to be no increase in the rate of runoff. And for a parcel of this size, actually, you could, from a zoning standpoint, create more lots. So he can get into that a little bit more if you'd like tonight, but I think that from a design standpoint, from an engineering standpoint, the concern on runoff is perhaps not as
I'm sure we'll get into that next
great
month.
as.
And we'll all have much more questions, and this is just an abbreviated
Just-
version to get it open and keep it legal.
Pam, just to clarify something, when you have a processed driveway or a gravel driveway that's there and it's driven on, the coefficient of runoff is pretty much identical to pavement. And the way that's now, it has a detention pond and stuff there that's draining that water into that, so. I know it's always looks nice to see that it's gonna be gravel and you're just gonna get all this raw water run into it. But once it's been driven on over a period of time, it's packed solid and.
Gets pretty impervious.
Exactly.
I do like the idea of reducing the width, though. Let's not forget that.
I was looking at the house that's got a chunk of wetland going right across the yard, all the way across the yard, in the middle of the yard.
That would be lot number,
Lot number 3. And I was just wondering about that situation. It's right here. This one here.
Yes.
What's gonna happen with, I mean, they can't get from their front yard to their backyard without going through the wetland.
I'm not sure what the concern with the development is essentially to the front of the lot. They have maybe not quite as big of a backyard as this lot, but they have a similar backyard. I'm not quite sure what the question is.
Well, I'm thinking of the person with the pool and the shed and in the wetland that ended up there because the house got closer to it than they thought it was gonna be, and future problems, people want to put in their backyards.
Feet there.
I think you're looking at this as the backyard. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, the driveway goes into this part, right?
Yeah.
And the wetland is across here. So presumably, the house is gonna be up here. On the other plan, the house is up here. So I would call, that would be the front, or would you call this the back, and that's the front yard? I mean, one part of that yard is on the other side of the wetland, no matter you call it front or back.
or it'll be buffered off. This is maybe clear plan. So that they will have a usable backyard behind the home.
Sure.
But there's gonna be markers and to protect this area from mowing and the like. So that would not be a usable portion of their lot, which is, it's true in many lots. And I think the more recent utilization of buffer markers and maps to protect that area would apply here, so that you don't get that happening in the backyard.
Bernie, if they took that house and just filtered it a little bit, they'd have a much bigger backyard also.
Yep, you could do that. I'm sure
The base is just-
the envelope there is big enough to.
Yeah, the
You know, it's an approximate idea that there's a house that
Yeah.
can fit there.
The setbacks go in this area, so you certainly can move the house around
Right.
anywhere. And then we're showing the tree line up to the proposed grading. This front yard buffer at 50 feet doesn't necessarily mean they can't cut trees a little bit into that to change the yard a little bit. So I do believe that there's certainly enough usable space on our side of the wetlands that it's not gonna feel like a cramped lot, that they're gonna have to get in there. And I've walked the site a bunch of times, and you're not getting from there to there from that house.
And taking into consideration, it is a 50 scale, and it looks a lot closer, I think, than it appears.
It is. It's a
2.3 acre lot.
Yeah.
it's a big scale. You're absolutely right. We're used to seeing 40
Yeah,
or
we
20
usually
scales.
do
It's
30s and 40s.
it's a big scale. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of feel that there are lots that have inaccessible land that might be divided by wetlands, and this is something that a homeowner, if they purchase that lot, they'd be cognizant of coming into the situation.
It certainly is a marketing issue as much as
Right.
anything else.
You know, it's funny, when you look at the earlier configurations, and we've been looking at various configurations for the subdivision for a while now, maybe 5 or 6 years.
Longer than I've been looking at.
Yeah, and finally something arrived before you, but as you look at this configuration and you look, Pam, at that particular area in the back there, you know, and you say, what would be the preferred configuration? Which lot would you give that to? It seems like even if you gave it to the lot in the western corner, the southwestern corner, you run into almost the same problem. It seems like there's no way to really get out of that. It seems like you always end up with a sort of
One lot will
landlocked,
be
so to speak.
bisected.
Well, it's in the middle of the hole. I mean, basically, this is a pit.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and the
Yeah.
wetland's in the middle of the hole, and you want to put 6 houses in the hole with the wetland in the middle of the pit. What it looked like to me out there, anyway.
Any other commissioners have any questions for the applicant? With that being said, I'd like to open it up to the public. If they have any concerns, questions for the engineer. Please state your name.
My name is John Knapp. All right, I own this property right here in the corner here. And I know for a fact that right over here, it dips very hard into an area there. And I'm worried about them. What are they trying to do to make this level so they can do something in there? Because I know it's not level at all. They're going to have to do something to make it come up level, you know? Are they going to blast in here? Because I'm really worried about my pool being right here, okay? And I'm worried about the ground shaking and getting to my pool and cracking my pool, cracking the foundation of my house. I know that's all rock back there, and they're going to have to do some blasting to get around it. So that's really what I'm thinking about in a long way, you know. I'm also worried about animals coming towards my house. I'm already getting them already now. All right, I'm getting big animals to come in my backyard. And I understand that's my problem now. But when this goes in, guess what? My backyard is their house now. That's a major problem of mine now. I have 3 kids, and I don't want to see big animals walking in my backyard, because now we're talking about real issues here, you know. Other than that, that's really what I'm looking for, you know.
Hi. I'm Joanne Bertrand, and we live next door to them. And my well, Bertrand.
Thank you.
our backyard has our well in it, and is this going to affect our well? With the water, you're changing the direction of the water and everything, and we've never had a problem with the well. We've been there about 6 years.
How's that going to affect the water?
That's last, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it is.
Chris, can you kindly address their concerns?
To the best of my ability.
Okay.
At this time, we are not proposing any blasting in this area of the project below your property. If anything, we're bringing in some fill in that area. We have some excavation for the pond itself, for the detention pond. But again, it's more bringing in fill. We have not done any testing along the frontage to determine where the ledge is along the frontage. We are taking out a sizable amount of material, so I'm not going to say that we may not be blasting to excavate the knob that's out there to get in there. What we've seen is this is not a super hard material, and banging on it with the backhoe usually takes care of it. But at this time, I cannot say that we're not going to blast. I'm not going to put that on the record. In terms of the well situation, we are not filling in any wetlands. The overall added impervious area for the project is small compared to the overall size of the site. So groundwater infiltration is really not going to be affected by this project. It's an open bottom pond, and we're not filling in any of the wetlands. So I can say that adjoining wells are not going to be impacted by the water. Also, this project is on city water and city sewer, so we are not proposing to drill 6 more wells in the area that could have possibly impacted the well drawdown. So at this time, that's as well as I can address those issues.
Can I ask a question to the board? Are we going to be asking the applicant questions during the next meeting? Or?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Because
This is just a brief overview.
my preference would be to hold my questions till next meeting.
That would be fine.
Okay.
You're young enough to remember them all that time.
Well, I thank you for your time. The comment that Alan, or it was Alan's comment about getting delineation boundary on the river, we'll take care of. If there were any issues that anybody had, that there was something they didn't see that they'd like to see, we didn't do prudent feasible alternatives tonight. We'll do that next time. Show what other plans we've looked at, and there have been many.
You know we're going to ask you for whether
Yeah, so we didn't do it tonight in this abbreviated version, but if there was anything anyone saw or anything someone didn't see that they thought was relevant, if you had that information for us tonight, that might be helpful so that we could bring it with us next time. But if not, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to being here next month.
we did want to open it up to the public this evening in case
No, I think that was a good
any
idea.
members of the public couldn't make the September 21st meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
And they wanted to address their concerns tonight, and we appreciate your brevity and bringing this presentation before us. I think the wetlands delineation on Patton Road is very critical for this commission. And it's the Wetlands Commission. Some of the issues that were brought up tonight were planning and zoning issues that are outside our purview, so.
There will be a planning and zoning application, by the way, folks, assuming that there is a permit
Based on our referral.
based on their referral. We would go to planning and zoning, so some issues are more relevant there, and we'll be there, and you'll have the right to speak.
Many of the public's concerns will be planning and zoning issues. I think.
Yes.
I guess I have one question. Did any of our figures have like a 100-year floodplain boundary showing on it in this area? Or or at least an
Show that
elevation.
on the map, Chris.
I don't know if we showed that on the map. Good question. I know we talked about it extensively, that's for sure.
That'd probably be,
You want to see where that?
that's a question I would have for next meeting.
Okay, that's a good one. We'll check and we'll bring a map that, has a red line or something that'll show you that.
Stormwater calculations have been done,
Huh?
Jonathan?
Yes, sir.
And the points of discharge have
Yep.
all been addressed.
Yes, sir.
Certainly. Oh, absolutely.
My name is Patrick Bertrand, and I'm 39 Stonehenge Drive. My other question is, right now I have all all woods around the back of me. How do I know where they're going to be? Are they going to be knocking everything down? They're not touching anything on our property, is that correct?
They
Where our
cannot-
property line is?
they
That's
can-
correct.
That is
cannot-
absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Well, I just want to know exactly, how could I know how high they're going to go with the fill? Because from my backyard, it goes down pretty close to 20 feet, I would think.
It's-
So does that mean that they're going to bring it up 20 feet? Do you guys have any idea how high you're going to be going with this?
Bringing in that much fill is far too expensive. The only thing going up would be the houses themselves.
That's
We are not raising the entire site up to.
I mean, and from my property line, how close can you be to my property line? I don't know these things.
We can, if you want, not to take up too much of your time, but we can meet and show you and answer specific questions.
I want them to hear it, so they.
Oh, absolutely.
They know exactly what
Yeah.
what our concerns are too.
Okay, yeah.
No, but we can meet fine, that'd be fine with me.
Some of these questions.
If you have an idea, I mean, because these are all things that I don't sleep good at night.
Which one is your property?
Well, I live next to, at 39 Stone.
Right in the corner there.
That should be here?
Down in the
No,
cutout.
next one down,
Over
right
there.
there.
There. Yeah, I have like a diamond shape there. So, my concern is over this area. What is this?
This is the driveway, and then this is the proposed tree line. So we are clearing trees up to adjacent to the property line, but there's no fill coming up. This is all at grade. So,
Okay.
so there is.
So I'm gonna have a road going right behind my house.
We have a little access drive on the other property.
Thank you for your time.
Very good.
Okay.
Seeing no more questions from the public. Oh,
He said he's not sure about the blasting, okay? He's not sure if it's soft or hard. When will I know you're definitely going to or definitely not going to? That's what I want to know. Anyone know
I
that?
have to get a permit first, then.
oh,
I'm not sure. Determining whether we need to blast is a cost, because we gotta get machines out there and do test holes and figure that stuff out. Exactly when that would occur, I would think that would be, based on when the town is gonna require, us to figure those things out. I can't answer that at that time, to be completely honest with you.
Just to clarify some things, any blasting has to get permits through the fire department.
Okay.
And any blast would have to have their insurance company canvass the neighborhood and do a pre-blasting survey. So they would be knocking on your door to look at your foundation, look at, your concerns, and then they would blast it.
Because like him, my well sits here,
Right.
my pool, my foundation, and another house right here, like a
Correct.
garage.
Yeah,
These
so-
things are gonna shake.
But that's the
I can
standard
guarantee that.
procedure for, before they allow any blasting permits to be.
Okay.
and they are legitimate concerns, and just to allay some of your fears, they will be addressed during the planning and zoning session.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So it would seem tidiest to actually make a motion to continue.
Absolutely. So at this point, seeing no more questions from the public, do I hear a motion?
Let's make a motion to hold this open till next month.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't know if I'm voting.
I think so.
Maybe I'm just extra.
I think you.
Thank you very much.
I think we're gonna find out this weekend what happens to water over there.
The preceding program was brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. To order a DVD copy of this program, call 203-234-0025 or visit our website at nhtv.com.